Hello gamers and gamettes, what is going on? My name is Tanuck127 and welcome back to another video. And before we get into today's video, guys, I do want to give a special thank you and a special shout out to Square Enix for hooking me up with a review key and early access to Babylon's Fall to bring you guys guides, news, and all that fun jazz. So special thank you to them. But in today's video, I want to bring you guys a little beginner's guide for Babylon's Fall to help you get started. Now, I meant to do this video a lot sooner, but one thing I learned about this game as I continue to progress on through the main story is that more and more progression things unlock as you work your way through the story. So what I'm going to do in today's guide is give you guys a little tour of the main social hub right here. Explain to you, some of the NPCs and stuff like that that you'll work around and things, and let y'all know what they do, how they function, and just show you guys the basics of the game. But before we get into that, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to give you guys some beginner advice that I personally take. Babylon's Fall is a action RPG multiplayer dungeon crawler style game. So if you've played anything like Monster Hunter, Dauntless, Destiny, anything where you're going out doing quests, grinding loot, you're on this mission to get the best gear and stuff like that, you have an idea pretty much of what you're getting into. Now the good thing about Babylon's Fall is you can play this game solo or you can play it multiplayer. Now the way the content is based and the way endgame works and stuff like that, I would definitely recommend playing it more in a multiplayer state. That's really how this game shines. But the first and foremost thing I recommend for everyone to do is go into system and go into their game options and just revamp your controls. Make sure the controls set in the game are comfortable for you, because it's a hack and slash kind of game. You may not like how Platinum Games has everything set up. You may have to change it. Me personally, I changed my control scheme to a more Dark Souls-ish like feel, especially since I've been playing a good chunk of Elden Ring lately. It came in handy. Now the game's combat systems do kind of feel a bit similar to me, because of how I have my controls set up. So, if you have a favorite game you'd like to mock the game's controls after, go for it. But anyway, the first thing I want to explain to you guys is your character's equipment screen, because there's actually a lot of information here that this can teach you. Not only about your character and gearing, but also about combat. Now, this is assuming you've already, started up the game, created your character, and stuff like that. You're going to notice that there's 3 different factions, aka races, or you can even call them classes when you start the game. Me, personally, I picked Galalion. I hope I said that right. But there's 3 different ones. I would personally recommend making at least 2 characters and trying out 2 of the different factions to see which one you like more, because they do gain more abilities and things about them, like I said, as you progress through the game. So I would definitely, recommend trying out more than just one character. Now, me personally, I've played in multiple network tests and betas for this game, so I've had the opportunity to try out the different classes and stuff like that, and the Galalion is the one that I personally like. Now, you're going to notice this big number right here called power. Now, what this is, basically, this is your gear score. This, if you've played Destiny, that would be your light level. And what power does is it takes the average power of the gear you're wearing, and that is your power level. And especially once you hit endgame, a lot of the missions and stuff like that you do, they're going to have a power level recommendation or requirement for you to get in. So, for example, I have a level 55 bow here. My level 55 bow is going to be stronger than a level 45 bow. And you guys know how the power and item level system works. There's a bunch of different rarities of gear in here. As you guys can see, I have a lot of blues, greens, and purples. You have your basic, your white rarity, which is your common. You have your green rarity, which is your uncommon. You have your blue, your rare, and then you have your purples, which are your epic. And then you have like a gold or an orange that's legendary. Same thing, like all typical looter games and stuff like that. Nothing different, nothing crazy, right there. Your Gideon coffin. This is the device that holds the 4 weapons on your back. Now, I'm going to explain to you guys how those weapons work. Now, when it comes to these different weapons, right, you see where I have my weapons locked into square and triangle right here? You'll notice my sword is my light attack, and my bow is my heavy attack. Well, the best way for me to describe the weapons you have in LT and L2 and R2, I would call these your magic weapons. They're called spectral weapons or spectral attacks and things like that. But the reason I call them your magic weapons is because what they basically do is they have their own type of ghost-like magical version of themselves when you're not using it as a physical weapon, and it basically just drains your magic or your MP. And that will be your second bar, the little red bar under your health bar. That's your mana, magic power, MP, whatever you'd like to call it for this particular game. Now, me personally, I usually have a wand and a hammer set as my spectral weapons, but in this case right now, I have a bow and a hammer, so I can perform regular attacks with my greatsword and my bow, which I'll let you guys see, here in the video footage. But when you guys see the red power attacks going above my head, that's coming from my hammer, and in this video footage that you guys are seeing, it's coming from my wand. But the bow would be doing the same thing, if I had a bow equipped for there. So whatever weapons you want to use as a spectral form, equip those in your triggers. Whatever weapons you want to use as your main hand physical attack weapons, equip them in your buttons, or however you have your controls laid out. Your bottom ones are going to be your physical weapons. These are going to be your spectral weapons. And then, the rest of the gear, of course, head, chest, arms, legs, and stuff like that. And as you guys can see, every piece of gear has different enchantments and different things in it. Those enchantments are going to be very, very important, especially with endgame and making the right builds for your character. Enchantments can be anything from lifesteal to, critical boost, additional HP. There's all kinds of different enchantments for gear, so feel free to mix and match. Don't only rely on the soul power level alone. So let's say, for example, I have this level 54 chest piece right here, but it's a purple and it's got a good amount of enchantments on it. But man, I just want to min-max and I want to get to that level 55. Well, this level 55 chest piece here sucks compared to this level 54 chest piece. I lose all those enchantments and I lose stats. I'm not going to sacrifice this 54 for this 55 just because it's a number higher and it may raise my power level by 1. Whoop-de-doo. When you're going to take a leap like that, I'm just saying, make sure the advantage is there for you. Now that we've explained gearing and stuff like that a little bit, let's go ahead and work our way around the social hub. Now, you're going to see other players walking around here and stuff like that. One thing I do want to teach you guys is multiplayer with your friends in this game can be a wee bit complicated. So if you want to do that, this social hub where you see, random players playing from other platforms and everything, this is not the place to do private multiplayer with your friends. Instead, what you want to do is you want to hit your start or your options button, depending on whether you're playing on PlayStation, PC, or whichever. And you want to go over here to the community tab and you want to create a private headquarters. Now, you guys see right here in the top right hand corner where it says my headquarters code is 720-98708. Now, the reason you want to create a private one is because it's easy to just get your friends into that headquarters. And they're the only people you have to worry about queuing up in your game. You can very well invite a friend to a public headquarters, but keep in mind, you take that risk of, other random players that are in that headquarters joining your mission. Now, once you bring your friends into that private headquarters, whoever's starting the mission is going to go ahead and begin their mission. You're going to go here to the quest board. There's a quest board here, and there's another one in another area that I'll be showing you guys later on in the video. And you're just going to hit Party Quest. And if your friend has started their quest already, it'll show up right here in this list. Now, me personally, I'm not doing any quests with any friends right now, so there's nothing there. But, if your friend has started one, it'll be there in this list. Hopefully, they improve this system a bit later soon. Just give people the option, to group up and pre-party before they get into missions and stuff like that. Because I'm not going to lie, this system's a little bit of a headache. It is good for, the whole crossplay thing. But the game does have a built-in friends list and all that stuff anyway. So hopefully, just simple grouping and invites becomes a thing later on down the line. But the first stop we're going to go ahead and make, since we were talking about gear and stuff before, is the crafting area. Now, like I said, you will not have this unlocked when you first start the game. A lot of this comes from in-game story progression. So take a lot of these things in this guide as you will. Your priority should just be getting through the main story. What you do here is pretty simple. You craft new weapons and gear. Now the cool thing is the gear and weapons that you craft here, anytime you find yourself a little bit on the low end, go farm some materials and craft some gear, because they're always going to offer you gear that's a little bit higher than your current item level or something around your average item level. So is that dungeon not dropping, the current item level or power level gear that you want? Go craft some. That's, the easiest way. And then speaking of crafting, guess what? We're going to go right on over here to Pygmalion, who is basically, the market of the game, the exchange. Now in here you can do the in-game the currency and stuff like that to buy cosmetics, your battle pass and all those things. But there's also, if you come over here to Conch Shop, this is where you buy and sell, regular just in-game items as well. You can sell gear or you can break it down. Me personally, if you're just starting out, I recommend breaking down a lot of your gear. You can sell some of it for garage, to keep making some change and stuff like that. But I would recommend breaking down a lot of it so that way you have great materials to work with when you're trying to craft and build things, especially at endgame. But here, you can buy a lot of the crafting materials that you need for gear, and you're limited to how much you can buy of them a day. The shop does refresh itself every so often. I think that's to kind of help to keep progression under control and stuff like that. But yeah, this is where you would want to go, to buy more materials, or you can just run out in dungeons and and farm them. This is probably so you can't just buy and get overloaded with this stuff. They sell item boosters here too as well. Now keep in mind, you'll never be able to buy these with real cash. You'll only be able to buy these using the currency that you earn in-game, which is called Garaz. And this is to raise experience to boost your regular character level. This will give you better drop rates for items, and this will give you better chances of infamous enemies, aka bosses, to spawn in things like skirmishes and stuff like that. Me personally, when it comes to infamous boosters, I would not use these while you're working on story progression. I would definitely save these for things like skirmishes and stuff like that and all those endgame runs, because you're going to be worried about leveling up a lot of that gear when you can. Also, when it comes to crafting, one thing about these items is you can't craft them unless you have the blueprints for them. Well, here's where you buy the blueprints right here. You buy them simply with Garaz. They're 10k a piece. I'm assuming, as you unlock more will probably pop in there. As you guys saw, the Forge guy, he did have a lot more rarities. He had blues and purples in there and stuff. So I'm sure a lot more things are going to be added to that area. But we're going to go ahead and stop over here as well. Come to this area. Now this is just basically another mission board, but this is just an area where you can grab your quests as well. You guys have seen this already. Nothing big, nothing special right there. Sophia, she is one of the head NPCs that you'll meet in the game. She is the first one to offer you missions, skirmishes, orders, and stuff like that. You do have daily quests you can do that'll help give you more gear, that'll help progress your battle pass and things like that. As you guys can see, I got 2 that I can turn in right now, which is worth 1,000 conch, which is the in-game usable currency, and also 150 battle pass points. When it comes to your battle pass, it's really cut and dry and simple. Every single dungeon you do in the game is worth 50 battle pass points. It takes 1,000 battle pass points to level up a tier. As long as you're running dungeons regularly and doing your dailies, you can progress pretty quickly through this. Now, me personally, I do think 1,000 battle pass points is still a little steep, especially for people who aren't playing the game too frequently. So I do hope they tone that down in the future just a bit. But you can grind the battle pass simply by just playing and not doing dailies. But a lot of the dailies revolve around stuff you're doing anyway, like kill 50 enemies, for example. You're going in dungeons farming gear. You're already killing enemies. You might as well, just do it. Running a quick match to help other random players. And things like that. Real simple things, that could that could just make your life a lot more simple. Now, we do have another NPC back here. Now, this is one cool thing I do like about this, because a lot of live service and MMORPG and some even action RPG games charge you for this in particular, but this game doesn't. And this is a cool thing. You can actually remodel your character here any time you want to. And I think that's really cool, because in these battle passes and things like that, you're unlocking new hairstyles, tattoos, clothing, and stuff like that. And you can come and add this to your character anytime you want without, being charged. And like I said, guys, a lot of games of this style, they do charge you for that. So I do think that's, a pretty cool thing that that developers have set up here. But anyway, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for my beginner's guide and tour of Babylon's Fall. I will be making an endgame guide that's a bit more in-depth and showing you guys some of the systems and things a bit more in-depth in the game. If y'all enjoyed today's video, smash that like button. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.